Side of the committee making this decision believes there is too much political risk, that people will rise up and be angry about having to fork up such a significant amount of money to protect these two, while the police and security chiefs believe that Harry absolutely must have, again I'm quoting, must have.
That Harry's been very tenacious. He wouldn't let this go even though the court sort of overruled it. So he personally wrote to the Home Secretary to look at his security level. This was last done in 2018 and it was found that he was the highest security risk alongside two other people, and those two people were the Queen and the then British Prime Minister Theresa May. So he genuinely has a case for it being assessed.
There is a terrifying reality that the Montecito PR machine has desperately tried to hide from the global public. You cannot charm a High Court judge, and you cannot PR your way out of a legal slaughter. Prince Harry walked into the British legal system with the arrogance of a man who believed his title still granted him absolute immunity. He demanded taxpayer-funded security, threw a tantrum against the Home Office, and expected the Crown's legal apparatus to bow to his victimhood. Instead, the judge dropped the hammer. Prince Harry didn't just lose his case, he was legally humiliated. And waiting right outside the courtroom doors, armed with a global broadcast and zero mercy, was Piers Morgan. This isn't just a reaction, it is a forensic, televised execution of the Sussex brand. Morgan steps up to the microphone and immediately zeroes in on the sheer, unadulterated arrogance of the lawsuit. He exposes the foundational delusion of Prince Harry's entire legal strategy, the belief that he can abandon his country, publicly trash the monarchy, and still demand that the British working class pay millions to protect his California lifestyle. Morgan doesn't just report the verdict, he weaponizes it, officially branding Harry not as a royal heavyweight, but as a C-list celebrity throwing a billionaire's temper tantrum. Let us go inside the $14 million Montecito compound to witness the fallout.
However, what the Telegraph reveals in its recent article is that Harry is looking to see how other countries treat him based on his status via the UK. So if the UK reinstates his internationally protected person status back, that means potentially you and me as an American taxpayer, if you are an American watching this channel, or any other country Prince Harry goes, he should be able to get basically diplomatic level, VIP level security, essentially funded by that government.
This international government level protection would dramatically reduce the cost of their private security. That would save the Sussexes millions of dollars.
The California sun is blinding outside, but the house is a freezing, isolated tomb. The silence is absolute, predatory, and entirely deafening. In a fortress built on the relentless preaching of global empowerment and impenetrable legal strategy, there is absolutely no power left. There is only the suffocating quiet of a PR command center that has just been brutally dismantled on the world stage. Silence isn't innocence, it is gasoline, and the entire estate is drenched in it. Prince Harry is pacing the length of his cavernous study, completely hollowed out. He is broken. He listens to Morgan's broadcast, echoing across the internet, and the terrifying reality of his courtroom defeat finally crushes him. He traded the impenetrable, silent armor of his birthright for a desperate, litigious Hollywood hustle, and he has just lost his most critical battle. The recruitment operation he fell for convinced him that litigation was leadership. Now, he realizes that suing his own government was a spectacular, historic miscalculation. He is a depreciated asset, entirely stripped of his royal protection, facing a legal bill that threatens to bankrupt his own narrative. Down the hall, in the war room, Meghan is not weeping. She is never sad. She is a cornered apex predator, operating with chilling, surgical precision.
Prince Harry has lost a legal challenge with the UK government over his security entitlements following his decision to step down from royal duties.
Prince Harry has won a full security risk assessment following a major U-turn by the Home Office.
She relies on ambiguity to survive, but the cold, hard, unyielding verdict of a British High Court judge leaves her with absolutely no shadows to hide in. You cannot merchandise authentic royal victimhood when the legal system officially declares you a private citizen demanding unwarranted privileges. Draft the appeal immediately, she dictates to her scrambling, panicked legal team over an encrypted line, her voice metallic and entirely flat. We claim the judge was biased. We deploy the danger narrative. We must convince the sponsors we are still royalty. But she is negotiating with ghosts. The sponsors are watching the ruling, and they are doing the math. Across the ocean, Prince William, the enforcer, stands in the quiet, historic authority of the palace. He watches the Montecito simulation violently crash. The Crown did not interfere in the lawsuit. They simply let Harry fight the government and lose on his own. The men in gray suits never issue empty threats. They operate with silent, devastating finality. The palace perimeter is locked, and the spectacular failure of the Hollywood legal machine has only just begun. The exposure moves from the crushing courtroom defeat to the staggering, unmitigated financial audacity of the lawsuit itself. Piers Morgan does not merely read the judge's ruling.
Yes, Harry is suing over this. Now, he claims it's just about how he is treated in the United Kingdom.
They think they're the underdogs going up against the system.
But the public won't.
He forensically dismantles the supreme arrogance required to even file the case. He zeroes in on the absolute insult to the British public, exposing the delusion of a man who abandoned his country but still expects its citizens to foot his multi-million-dollar security bill. We arrive at the second phase of the unmasking, the taxpayer insult and the motorcade hypocrisy. Morgan lays out the brutal, undeniable facts. Prince Harry stepped down as a working royal, secured $100 million deals with streaming giants, and relocated to a billionaire's playground in California.
I think this is a case of Harry living in a fantasy. He wants something to be real so badly. He wants to be as important as his brother is, so incredibly bad that I think Harry sort of makes himself crazy over it. He deludes himself so much because he just so desperately wants to be essentially the Prince of Wales. He wants to have that authority. He wants to have that respect that his brother does. But Harry just doesn't seem to understand that unfortunately is not his role in life. And there's nothing in particular wrong with the role of being the spare. You can see it as a blessing, but Harry sees it as a curse, and he sees himself as important or more important than his brother, and that's just simply not fact.
Of whether he does have security when he comes to the UK. If in fact he then gets it, as you point out, will it then be incumbent on him to bring Meghan and his grandchildren? Because that's always been his reason for not bringing them back. And I think the fact that Thomas Markle is in hospital and the whole relationship breakdown there, it's more important than ever that Harry's being seen to engage with Britain and the family that he was, born into and raised with.
Yet, he had the sheer audacity to drag the British government to court, demanding that everyday taxpayers, people struggling with the cost of living, fund his elite, armed police protection whenever he deigned to visit the UK. Morgan exposes the hypocrisy. Harry doesn't actually fear for his safety. He craves the prestige. He wants the flashing lights, the outriders, and the royal motorcade because, without them, he is forced to admit he is simply another wealthy private citizen. Let us return to the $14 million Montecito compound. The California sun cannot penetrate the psychological winter of this estate. The house is a freezing tomb. The silence is absolute, predatory, and entirely deafening. There are no sounds of a vibrant family. There is only the terrifying quiet of a brand whose foundational entitlement has just been publicly incinerated by a high court judge. Silence isn't innocence. It is gasoline. And tonight, the match is burning down to the fingers. Prince Harry sits in the dark of his cavernous study, completely hollowed out. He is broken.
It says Home Office tries to block new security for Prince Harry. Officials fear public outcry if Duke and Duchess of Sussex get taxpayer-funded protection. And so, just as an aside for Harry and Meghan, who are not popular people, who's basically had a huge profile about them in Variety, basically telling the world they're crappy at their job and that nobody should take them seriously. Now, you have all that together, and Prince Harry really thinks that people are going to be gun-ho to pay for his security in the UK, let alone anywhere abroad, is out of his mind. Just for his own public image, he should not pursue this. Prince Harry apparently has a stalker, and he's using this to try to leverage the British government into giving him a...
He listens to Morgan articulate the glaring, humiliating reality of his downgraded status, and the horrifying realization finally crushes him. The recruitment operation he fell for convinced him he was bigger than the institution, that he could retain the perks of the monarchy while discarding the duty. Now he realizes the British legal system has officially stripped him of his VIP status. He is a depreciated asset, a former prince of the realm reduced to paying for his own private security guards like a common Hollywood celebrity. In the war room, Meghan is wide awake. She is never sad. She operates with chilling, surgical precision. She relies on ambiguity to survive, but the public, forensic dissection of their financial demands, leaves her with absolutely no shadows to hide in. Release a statement about our independence, she dictates to her scrambling PR team over an encrypted line, her voice completely flat. Claim,
Prince Harry certainly has a knack for making himself the centre of global attention. Harry is seemingly addicted to invading his privacy, invading the privacy of his friends and families, and appearing in public places and making sure that everyone talks about them. He's currently at the High Court in London.
Prince Harry's battle over his security continued. That apparently the Home Office...
We offered to pay the police. We must pivot to saying the government is denying us our right to buy protection. Spin it as discrimination. But she is negotiating with ghosts. The judge already explicitly ruled that you cannot privately hire the Metropolitan Police as a personal mercenary force. The public sees the entitlement, and the spin is completely dead on arrival. Across the ocean, Prince William, the enforcer, receives the intelligence reports. He is cold, he is surgical, he is final. The men in grey suits never complained about the Sussexes' demands. They simply allowed the British legal system to do its job. The palace watches the Hollywood cannibalization happen in real time, knowing that a brand built on royal entitlement eventually collapses under the weight of common law. The exposure accelerates from the ideological embarrassment into a terrifying financial reality check. Piers Morgan knows that in the brutal ecosystem of Hollywood, you are only as powerful as your bank account. He does not just mock the verdict. He actively zeroes in on the catastrophic financial penalty of Prince Harry's hubris. He forensically exposes the staggering cost of their curated paranoia. We arrive at the third phase of the unmasking, the security theater and the financial ruin. Morgan looks directly into the camera and tears down the danger narrative. He exposes the glaring, undeniable contradiction. Prince Harry claims the UK is too dangerous to visit without armed state protection. Yet he happily travels to high-risk countries for unofficial, faux royal tours and attends crowded Hollywood concerts and sporting events with private bodyguards just fine.
He does not need that level of security because he is not part of that head of state status anymore. So if the UK government allows this, then they are on the hook everything Harry and Meghan are doing in many ways. It may cause problems with other governments because they're like, well, we had to cover the security for this Duke and Duchess of nothing who ran around, did a fashion show, did a couple of charity events. We didn't get any money for it. We got no discernible benefit from it. And so it will cause friction with other countries. This is a huge, massive problem.
Yeah. What kind of thing is he thinking he's representing here? What image is he putting forward?
Morgan alleges that the UK lawsuit was never actually about safety. It was purely about status. It was security theater, a desperate attempt to force the British government to validate his royal importance. But the theater has just gone spectacularly bankrupt. The judge didn't just dismiss the case. He ordered Prince Harry to pay the overwhelming majority of the Home Office's legal fees on top of his own exorbitant lawyers' bills. Morgan delivers the lethal punchline. Harry sued the taxpayer for a free ride, and the court just handed him a multi-million-dollar invoice. Let us step back inside the $14 million Montecito fortress. It is high noon, but the California sun cannot pierce the psychological winter of this estate. The house is a freezing tomb. The silence is absolute, predatory, and entirely deafening. There are no sounds of a vibrant family. There is only the terrifying quiet of a brand whose multi-million-dollar legal gamble has just ended in catastrophic financial ruin. Silence isn't innocence, it is gasoline, and the match is burning down to the fingers. Prince Harry is standing by the massive bay windows, completely hollowed out. He is broken. He watches Morgan dissect their financial vulnerability, and the sheer, unadulterated panic sets in. He stares at the incoming legal invoices from London. The recruitment operation he fell for convinced him he possessed unlimited resources and untouchable legal standing.
And again, I'm just being careful because I don't know the legalities here and I don't want to get in super huge trouble or anything. But if you look back through the pictures from Alamy, you see a woman. And if you put in Prince Harry, it'll come up. And she looks a lot like this person. She has black hair and she also had little pearl stud earrings. And I feel like I can see those right there. So I'm just saying that might be the person. And she's literally right next to Harry, like right next to him at one point. And I was like, okay, so they had to body block this person as they claim to in here, and yet she's there. So what's the truth? So here we go. It says a known stalker came within feet of the Duke of Sussex on 2 separate occasions during his recent visit to the UK.
Lawrence, if Doreen Lawrence is pretty much saying exactly the same thing as Harry, and I'm sorry, with Doreen Lawrence, that infuriates me. Now, everybody is saying the same thing.
Instead, he realizes they have just burned through millions of dollars for the sheer privilege of being publicly humiliated by a judge. He is a depreciated asset, completely stripped of his royal funding, facing the agonizing reality that his litigious addiction is draining their Hollywood reserves dry. In the war room, Meghan is pacing. She is never sad. She operates with chilling, surgical precision. She relies on ambiguity to survive, but the hard, broadcasted reality of a devastating court order leaves her with absolutely no shadows to hide in. You cannot PR your way out of a multi-million-pound legal debt. Leak a story about our exclusive new projects, she dictates to her rapidly shrinking crisis team over an encrypted line, her voice metallic and entirely flat. We must project immense wealth. Distract the sponsors from the court costs. Announce another documentary. Drown the invoice in new press. But she is negotiating with ghosts. The streaming giants are reading the court transcripts, and they are aggressively tightening their purse strings. Across the ocean, Prince William, the enforcer, monitors the global fallout. He is cold, he is surgical, he is final. The palace recognizes the supreme irony. The Sussexes left the monarchy to achieve financial independence, only to bankrupt themselves, fighting the very institution they abandoned.
She still won't allow him to go. They still won't take the kid because she does not want to go. That's the truth there that Harry fails to acknowledge. Again, all of this is pointless. He's wasting millions of dollars potentially for a case that's never probably going to go his way to please a wife who's never going to be pleased. And so this whole thing is again pointless. And even if he wins, they'll probably adjust the rules and amend and take it away from him again because he can't justify this. Again, even if he claims he'll pay for it, I bet you bottom to dollar that the UK taxpayers will be on the line. And if the truth again is that he gets that internationally protected person status back, Meghan and Harry are free to demand any country they visit give them a massive, massive security detail.
The men in gray suits are watching the Montecito fortress rapidly collapse from the inside out, completely paralyzed by the sheer cost of their own arrogance. The exposure accelerates from the staggering financial ruin directly into the terrifying reality of the corporate boardroom. Piers Morgan does not just mock the multi-million-dollar legal invoice, he forensically dissects what the judge's ruling actually means for the Sussex brand's ultimate bottom line. He exposes the final, undeniable death of the half-in, half-out fantasy. We arrive at the fourth phase of the unmasking, the institutional erasure and the corporate contagion. Morgan points to the brutal, unyielding language of the court's decision. The judge did not simply deny Prince Harry his armed guards. The court officially, legally validated the Ravik Committee's assessment that Harry is no longer a working royal. He has been legally categorized by the British state as a private citizen. Morgan exposes the absolute terror this strikes into the heart of the Montecito machine. The Hollywood executives who signed the $100 million contracts believed they were buying a prince of the realm. But the British High Court just broadcasted to the entire corporate world that Prince Harry does not even warrant the VIP treatment from his own country's police force. The royal aura has been legally punctured. The corporate contagion has officially begun, and the streaming giants realize they bought a depreciating asset whose home country has officially downgraded his status. Let us go back inside the $14 million Montecito compound. It is dusk. A suffocating, heavy marine layer has swallowed the fortress, turning it into an isolated tomb.
The Telegraph can reveal the woman who may be suffering from mental health issues. If she isn't, and she's just a fan, although I would say if you're a fan of Harry and Meghan, you may have mental health issues. You know, you're kind of smearing her right there a little bit. entered a secure zone at a central London hotel at which the Duke was attending the Well Child Wards on September 9th. 2 days later, she was spotted within a stone's throw of the Duke at the Center for Blast Injury Studies in West London, security sources said. She is said to have previously followed him to Nigeria.
I've never threatened to shoot him or to bomb him or to do anything like that. But this has now been used by Harry's team in order to secure government-funded security.
The silence is absolute, predatory, and entirely deafening. There are no sounds of a vibrant family life. There is only the suffocating quiet of a PR command center whose entire royal leverage has just been officially erased by a gavel strike. Silence isn't innocence, it is gasoline, and tonight the flames are licking the very walls of the estate. Prince Harry is wandering the empty, cavernous corridors, completely hollowed out. He is broken. He listens to the deafening silence from their Hollywood agents, and the final, horrifying reality of his situation locks into place. He realizes he didn't just lose a lawsuit, he lost his institutional identity. The recruitment operation he fell for convinced him he could dictate his royal status from a California mansion. Instead, he realizes the British government just legally defined him as entirely ordinary. He is a depreciated asset, staring directly into the abyss of total irrelevance, completely stripped of the one thing he thought he could never lose, his untouchable royal exceptionalism. In the war room, Meghan is wide awake. She is never sad. She is an apex predator cornered by her own hubris, operating with chilling, surgical precision. She relies on ambiguity to survive, but the hard, unyielding reality of a British High Court ruling leaves her with absolutely no shadows to hide in. You cannot demand royal deference in Hollywood when London has officially classified you as a civilian. We pivot to the everyman narrative, she dictates to her panicked, rapidly shrinking PR team over an encrypted line, her voice metallic and entirely flat. We spin this as a victory for our independence. We say we never wanted the state machinery. We brand ourselves as the rebel royals who walked away from the taxpayer.
Yeah, nobody set out to destroy you. You destroyed yourself in this country with your ludicrous, hypocritical behaviour.
Actually pokes more holes in Harry's story and proves Prince Harry and Meghan Markle wrong.
She is attempting to manufacture a victory out of a historic humiliation, but she is negotiating with ghosts. The corporate sponsors read the ruling. They know Harry sued desperately to keep the state machinery, and they know he lost. Across the ocean, Prince William, the enforcer, watches the broadcast conclude its fourth segment. He is cold, he is surgical, he is final. The Crown is not interfering because they don't have to. The men in gray suits have always known that the law is blind to PR spin. The institutional perimeter is permanently sealed, and the Hollywood contagion is spreading faster than Montecito can contain it. The exposure reaches its absolute devastating terminus. Piers Morgan does not merely conclude his broadcast with a recap of the legal defeat. He delivers the final, psychological death blow to the Montecito illusion. He shifts his focus from the staggering financial ruin directly to the devastating personal reality of Prince Harry's existence. He forensically exposes the ultimate, undeniable tragedy of the Duke's own making. We arrive at the final reckoning, the permanent exile and the ultimate surrender. Morgan points out the profound, inescapable irony. Prince Harry launched a relentless, multi-million-dollar legal crusade against the British press and the British government under the guise of protecting his family from his home country. But the judge's ruling has done something far more devastating than hand him a massive legal bill. It has permanently locked the gates behind him. By legally downgrading his security status, the court has given Harry the ultimate excuse to never return.
Now, the stage of a court case is all about procedure. There are no witnesses, no evidence, no box office material. The hearings take place today and yesterday and could have passed without anyone really noticing, but Harry wanted everyone to see him.
Prince Harry did not win the main Ravik court case to get his automatic taxpayer-funded UK police protection reinstated. In 2020, after stepping back as a working royal and moving to the US, Ravik, the UK's Royal VIP Executive Committee, removed his automatic top-level publicly funded police protection. Harry challenged that in court. He lost in the High Court in 2024.
Morgan exposes the terrifying truth. Harry didn't sue to make the UK safe. He sued so he could blame the government for his permanent absence. But the public sees through the charade. He is not a royal refugee. He is a self-imposed exile who burned down his own castle and then complained he had nowhere to sleep. Let us step inside the $14 million Montecito tomb one last time. It is dawn. The suffocating heavy marine layer is finally burning off, exposing the fortress to the harsh, unforgiving light of reality. Inside, the house is a freezing void. The silence is absolute, predatory, and deafening. There are no sounds of a thriving, vibrant family preparing to take on the world. There is only the chilling, unnatural quiet of a stage set right before the curtain drops forever, revealing the staggering financial and legal ruin underneath. Silence isn't innocence. It is gasoline, and the entire operation has just gone up in a spectacular, globally televised blaze. Prince Harry stands by the massive bay windows, looking out at the California horizon, completely hollowed out. He is broken. The terrifying reality of his permanent exile.
Every public figure pretty much has a stalker that they have to deal with from time to time. This is the burden of public life, one that Harry should know quite well.
For Harry and Meghan, the incentive seems to be international. Well, I think the incentive is ego primarily, but also finance, because
finally shatters his last remaining delusion. He looks at his own isolation, his severed ties with his bloodline, and the mountain of legal debt on his desk. He realizes he is staring at his own complete surrender. He didn't just lose a court case, he lost the war. He traded the unquestioning, lifelong protection of a 1,000-year-old empire for a desperate, litigious California mirage that has just completely bankrupted him morally, institutionally, and financially. He is a depreciated asset, trapped in a house built on grievances, permanently locked out of the only country where he actually mattered. In the war room, Meghan stands amidst the shredded remains of her 5-year global strategy.
So, Harry publicizing these things so extensively in the fall, some people thought it was a little bit of a conspiracy, that maybe it was sort of a setup so that Harry could publicize it to make it look like there was heavier attention and public responsibility on Harry's security situation than is realistic. This, of course, feels very unsatisfactory to many people of the public and royal watchers.
She is a cornered predator. She is never sad. She operates with chilling, surgical precision, desperately searching for a new narrative. She relies on ambiguity to survive, but the undeniable, broadcasted reality of a brutal high court defeat leaves her with absolutely no shadows to hide in. The victim card has been permanently declined. You cannot claim the monarchy destroyed your life when you are actively bankrupting yourself, trying to force the state to treat you like a royal. "We sell the house," she dictates to the empty room, her voice a metallic, desperate whisper. "We announce we are downsizing for privacy. We blame the UK security ruling for forcing us into hiding. We reinvent entirely." But she is negotiating with ghosts. The leverage is completely gone. The Hollywood executives have fled, horrified by the institutional downgrade. The entire world has seen the devastating court order, and you cannot unring the bell of a judge legally stripping away your royal armor. Across the ocean, Prince William the Enforcer
increased security due to threats. Ultimately, Rita, what we think they want is IPP status. IPP stands for Internationally Protected Person. It's normally applied to presidents, prime ministers, and diplomats. If someone has been designated the IPP status, countries are obligated to provide heightened security.
Stands in the quiet, historic, and absolute authority of the palace. He has made his move by not moving at all. He is cold. He is surgical. He is final. The perimeter is fully and permanently secured. The simulation has violently crashed. The men in gray suits didn't have to launch an attack or issue a frantic press release. They simply had to wait for Prince Harry's own arrogance to drag him into a courtroom where he was guaranteed to lose.
But then when this happened, it obviously irritated Harry to a great extent. He said in Oprah that he never in his wildest dreams thought that his security would be changed, which doesn't really make sense. To put it in perspective, isn't really saying a lot, because Harry was also surprised that his dad stopped giving him an allowance in his 30s. But at this point, Harry decided to sue the Home Office, claiming that it was unfair that he lost his automatic police protection, and his lawsuit was alleging that there was some flaw in the process of how they decided, that they used irregular decision-making processes, or that they were influenced by the royal family's representative on the Ravik committee, or something of that nature, that they were unlawful in their decision-making process.
There has been media reports, especially in late 2025 and early 2026, saying that the Home Office has ordered a fresh threat assessment. Ravik has reviewed his security again, and there were discussions about possibly restoring automatic armed protection. But all those reports about reviews and internal discussions, not the original court case, being won.
History will remember Meghan and Harry not as the compassionate modernizers who conquered the monarchy, nor as the fearless legal crusaders who brought down the press. History will remember them as the grifters who walked willingly into their own trap, traded their birthright for a fabricated reality, and lost absolutely everything when the truth finally dropped the gavel. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and remember, the truth is undefeated.